Text from a friend saying, I don't think people realize how close we are to the season. I got to tell you, I'm with him. We're going to talk about all that and more coming up on this episode of SLC Puck. So cue the music, because here we go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to SLC Puck. The reason for the delay between the S and the L, I had a soda sitting precariously on my desk full of way too expensive equipment for such a silly little show. So we almost saw just like what would have been 9/11 for this show, really, in a big way. So we avoided it. It's 8:15, August 15th. So glad you guys are here. I know you guys probably have this already marked on your calendars, so it's just going to be a quick reminder. Tomorrow is my mother's birthday, so big shout out to my mother. She is turning, I have her sitting right next to me. What are you? 45. I'm 34 years old. My mother's turning 45. Congratulations to my mom. It's a big age. It's a big accomplishment. She's rolling her eyes right now, as I'm sure you can imagine. How, 58? Oh, nice. We're having fun here. Hey guys, it's good to be with you. I'm your host, Austin Facer. You may notice I'm in a unusual spot. Maybe it's a familiar spot to some of you guys. We are sitting in what was, now we can say was, it's past tense. This is my former abode of the last 5 years. This is where episode 1 of SLC Puck was recorded, from my little basement apartment here in Sugar House. I have been in the process of moving out all day, and this is going to be my very last act as a tenant of this really nice. This place has been great. This place has been super helpful. The landlord's been great. This has been a really awesome place to live the last 5 years. And honestly, SLC Puck wouldn't be possible without this location, without my landlord and all the support that I got, being where I've been for the last 5 years. So it's a little sappy, it's a little emotional, and I wanted to. I've had this curtain behind me right there for a little bit, but I wanted to put it down and just kind of. This is my love song, my love letter to the first ever SLC Puck studio. We're saying goodbye to it tonight. We're going to be moving on to our permanent location for the next show. When will that be? Hopefully soon, because we have a lot to talk about here on SLC Puck. I agree with my friend. I said this in the cold open. I got a text from a friend. It's our friend, I should say, friend of the show, Eric Jensen, texted me yesterday, and as I'm reading this text, I'm realizing I didn't respond to him. So I'm gonna let's crowdsource what a good response to Eric would be here. Eric's a good dude. I do owe him a text back. Eric says, yesterday at 3:15, yo, just want to check in. I binged the off-season recaps yesterday, free agency moves and such. I don't think people realize how close we are. I think Eric's right. Like, I think we're getting insanely close. We're halfway through August right now. We're about to celebrate my mother's 58th birthday. I think moving forward, we're gonna just put this like in our register. Mom's birthday. That when we get there, the next day we dial it up, and that's when things get really serious. When we talk about the Mammoth and hockey in Utah, and I think I kind of could feel the tide shift a little bit on this, just on social media, just kind of observing what you guys are saying. I think people are getting a lot more in tune with the fact that hockey is getting very, very, very close. I said getting twice, and I said very, very twice as well, because I'm excited. I think this is going to be a really fun year. Year 3 of this crazy little thing we call NHL hockey in Utah, and we're going to dive back into sort of previewing the season, and we spent a lot of time over the last little bit kind of recapping the year that was, looking at some free agency moves. You know, we talked about Vincent Trocheck, who is my doppelganger. You know, we were separated at birth. While I have my mother here with me, Vincent. I'm being told Vincent Trocek is not my brother. Okay, we'll have to check. We'll have to double check that. But it's gonna be really fun to see the new faces on the ice, familiar faces as well. The Logan Cooleys, the Dylan Guenthers, the Clayton Kellers, the Nick Schmaltz, the Spicy Tuna. I don't know if we'll see a lot of Spicy Tuna, but we'll see him. I hope he's got his red hair back. He's had a big off season, by the way. I believe he just had celebrated the birth of his second child, which was really tremendous. Let me ask you this: what's a more exciting accomplishment in the hearts and minds of Utah hockey fans all over? Liam O'Brien entering new, welcoming new life into the world, his second child, or the Clean Hits podcast celebrating their 100th episode. I got to say, I am equally excited about both because I think those are of equal consequence to Utah hockey, really. And I want to just give like a quick shout out to the Clean Hits hockey guys for celebrating hitting the triple digit mark. I know for them it's like getting to that number is like a little bit trickier because they have to coordinate the schedule of all those dudes, and they have to think more because I think their podcast is a lot more cerebral than this goofy show we do here. But I really do I really do admire like everybody else who does do a podcast on this really thing. And I hope that's really clear. When this episode is done, when you're done listening to me, and if you haven't already, please go over to the Clean Hits podcast, listen to episode 100. You'll get what I mean. They're a lot more, they know the ins and outs of this franchise a lot better. Here's what I just want to continue to glaze these guys up a little bit. We are so freaking lucky as Utah hockey fans, sports fans in Utah, that those dudes decided to give us their time and expertise and interest and produce all that like content that I have enjoyed immeasurably. And those guys did all that as a labor of love that was totally unnecessary. Like, none of those guys live in Utah, which I think makes the show like even more kind of mystical in that sense. And I think they find us amusing. I think they find me amusing for sure. But all those guys, Corey, it's so embarrassing. I do know their names, guys. Corey, Trent, Kenny, and Gretzky Betsky. All those dudes are freaking awesome. So, I really like them. And more than that, and I know I kind of struggle to remember their names, but I did want to get this thought out clearly. Like, I would consider all those guys really good friends. And, we do talk outside of like podcasting world and all that. And so, they've always been really supportive of the show. So I just wanted to give a special shout out to the Clean Hits guys. Those guys are awesome dudes, and I do consider them friends, even though it took me a minute to remember all four of their names. Brad is Gretzky Betsky. I'm so sorry, guys. Brad, Trent, Corey, Kenny, good dudes. One of my dreams is to go down and do a show in Arizona, hang out with those guys. So hopefully we can get that coordinated at some point in the near future. And I know what you guys are also thinking, like, hey, Austin, thanks for all the content you've been putting out over the summer. We've been missing a little bit of Sammy, though, on Sam Cam Sunday. Well, I'm very happy to give kind of an update on that. Sammy is fine, as I'm sure you've noticed. She's still been active on SLC Puck Sam. The reason she hasn't been as active on the show is because she's been training like Rocky ahead of tomorrow afternoon, which is talk about like a consequential moment in Utah hockey history. This one is going to be talked about for decades, and it certainly will be discussed on the very next episode of SLC Puck. And what I mean by that is that Samantha Facer, she doesn't have a middle name, kind of weird. Samantha Facer will be making her hockey debut tomorrow afternoon. She's participating in the Cottonwood Hockey Shop's summer scrimmage series, kind of beginner hockey scrimmages. Which, by the way, great idea. That's super cool. Those guys do that. By the way, it's super great team over there. Alan, AJ, and all the boys over there do a really good job. Sammy's going to be taking the ice for the first time. She is pretty excited. She's been gathering all of her equipment. Her equipment is brand new. This will be the first sweat, and there will be a lot of sweat because my mom and I were saying this out of love. Like Sammy may be shocked at just the physical strain required to play a game of hockey. But her gear is ready to go. She's got her stick taped up. She's made several pilgrimages over to Pure Hockey to get fully stocked and locked and ready to go. So I'm going to be there cheering on Sammy. Kevin will be there, my nephew, mother, of course, as well. If you guys would also like to join in the Sammy Facer cheering section, the SLC Puck Sam cheering section, you're more than welcome to do so. I believe we're at 145 at Cottonwood Heights, so that'll be a ton of fun. And again, it's going to be a great way to really start getting serious about the stuff. We've been goofing off a lot. Summer goof off. We've been hagsing. By the way, hags. I'm saying this to my mom, who is a school teacher. That is probably one of the greatest like social innovations of our time. The concept of just writing hags in somebody's yearbook, because it covers all the bases. Let's be totally honest, guys. You write hags in somebody's yearbook because you don't know the person at all. You don't know the person who has solicited your signature and your words of inspiration to be memorialized for time and all eternity in their yearbook. This is a person who wanted you to, they wanted to get value out of their experience with you in school, and they want you to put it all on a page. But let's be honest, you don't know this person at all. You have no relationship with them. You might not even like them. You may not even know what their name is. And so hags has become a fantastic social tool. Whoever came up with that was literally a social genius. I think it's great. But we have been hagsing here, unironically. Gosh, it's been so freaking hot here. It's been hard to like get out and do anything. I've gotten really good at hitting the golf ball. I go like early in the morning, hit the golf ball around. I can hit my 7-iron. I'm not shitting you guys, like 180 yards now, which is pretty, like for a 7-iron is pretty nuts. Is it accurate? Not all the time, right? But you know, we're getting there. But you know, all that being said, let's just kind of dial it back. I know you guys came here for Utah Mammoth talk. I think like the thing that like is most eye-catching to me when I'm thinking about Eric's text and what it means to really be getting close. I go to Ryan Smith's tweets here on the old X on Twitter, and it's kind of amazing to see what is happening at the home of the Mammoth, the Delta Center. This is a look at which one is this? Is this the north or the south zone? This is the north zone, right? This is going to be the stacked party deck area on one side. Obviously, the other, that's going to be the slope. That's going to be that super, super steep area. These guys, the crew working, literally round the clock in the Delta Center is doing some unbelievable work. We're being told that the steepness here in the Delta Center is going to be a marvel. Like it is going to be perhaps one of the steepest in all of sports in North America, maybe rivaling only Montreal, and I've never been to the Bell Center, so I couldn't confirm or deny that. But this is going to be like pretty astounding. I know my mom is wincing just looking at the steepness, so maybe we'll just spend a little bit more time on the north side, where we can just kind of get in our boxes and all that. We're hoping to have some stuff lined up for you guys, to get the SLC Puck community active in these new spaces. But I'm looking at these pictures that Ryan Smith posted the other day on August 13th, and I'm thinking about the season and everything getting real. And I got to tell you, I think something like really crazy is happening here in Utah. I don't know how to explain it. I'm just going off of like pure vibes and just feeling. But I got to tell you, like, I know we've been really excited. Like we've been really privileged over the last 2 years here in Utah. We've had some opening nights in 2 consecutive years that have been pretty remarkable, right? Year one, October 8th, 2024, Chicago Blackhawks are in town. It's the Utah Hockey Club, right? No name, no identity, no big deal, right? It's the first ever game. They've got the Stair Stepper logos. They come out of the circle. You know, there's no mascot, but nobody cares. We're gonna roll with the punches. We're gonna develop an identity as we go. Broccoli heads come out of that, you know. But back to opening night, you know, it begins with a goal by Dylan Guenther to get the party started. Utah wins that one 5-2. Year 2, opening night. That's a special one too. Hey, we know who we are now. We've got a frickin' name. We're the Utah Mammoth, and we're gonna unearth a mammoth on the ice before the game. Tusky comes out in exciting fashion. Much like the year before, Dylan Guenther scores the opening goal of the season. Utah wins as well, that time over the Calgary Flames. We're seeing the Flames again in year 3. And it's going to be we're going to have the privilege of a 3rd consecutive sort of, I can't believe I was there kind of night. Because I'm looking at the Delta Center. And as I'm talking, I'm going to try to pull up the renderings here. But I'm looking at at just how dramatically this is changing. And yeah, let's just look at this right here. This is where take a look at. That I cannot believe that is the same building. I've spent a lot of time at the Delta Center over my many years, 34. Not as many as my mom, 58. I love you, Mom. But look at this. This is something that's really unique on both sides. The lower bowl, everybody's going to have a view of both nets. There's going to be the gondola. It's a new view they've never had. Look, I think that there's going to be something here that has never been felt in this building before. And it, again, like I said, it's going to be I can't believe I was there kind of moment. And how lucky are we that we get to have that in each of the last 3 years for an opening night? I don't know how they're going to replicate it. You know, now our expectations are going to be so out of whack. Every time October rolls around, be like, all right, what do we got for us now? You know, what's the big cat? Do we got Connor McDavid this time around? I don't think so. But guys, come on. Do you feel it? Can you feel it now? Shiver, you make me shiver. It's crazy. It makes me it makes me feel really lucky to be here. Like, I cannot believe that we get to be experiencing like these moments in 3 consecutive years. We could, just so you know, I don't know how this whole game of life works. You know, I don't know how this whole thing happens. You know, blah 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 blah. You know, there's a lot of theories on that. But you could be born in any time, in any place. I don't know, maybe. And the chances of us being born are like 1 in a zillion. Is that what they want to say? But we get to be around for this moment. And we get to see these nights in 3 consecutive years. And they're going to be nights that are going to impact the trajectory of our community forever. I've said this since day one. This is a wonderful story about a hockey team, blah, 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 blah. It's brought me a lot of happiness, brought me a lot of joy. It's given me some incredible opportunities. And we're going to make the most of it. This next year at SLC Puck, we have some really cool stuff planned ahead for the next little bit, so stay tuned. But this is not just a story about a hockey team. This is a story about like Utah's arrival into our next chapter. This was the catalyst for all of this. I very, very strongly believe that Utah getting this team will impact the future of downtown Salt Lake City. It certainly impacts weekends here in Utah. I mean, I spend Saturdays at the Utah Mammoth Ice Center coaching kids. That place is bumping. Like I've said it since before that place opened, that I thought Saturdays would never be the same there in the area. I think we're going to see more of that. It's changed Sammy's life in a big way. Sammy would maybe never get the opportunity to play hockey. That's just going to get now. And it certainly has changed my life a lot. You guys have seen all about that. But man, just think about how lucky we are that we're going to see this. It's coming soon. We're like 6 weeks away. And we'll spend more time talking about the guys who are going to be on the ice, how we can expect them to play. But I just, in a grand scheme, like I'm sitting here, I'm in the original SLC Puck studios. I'm moving out in literally 30 minutes. Like this is the last. I'm gonna run the vacuum, pack up the podcasting stuff, drop the keys off, and then I'm out of here. I can hear "Landslide" by Fleetwood Mac as I'm doing so. Not the version by the Dixie Chicks, by the way. That'll be a different rant for another day. That version sucks. The Fleetwood Mac one is the good one. But another good one, Smashing Pumpkins. We'll talk about that more later, but I just feel a lot of change happening. And I think I have this weird feeling that it's good. And I think it's really I think we're going to see a lot of things happen in a big way throughout the state. It's not just limited to Utah hockey fans, although I know this is why you come to the show. But I mean, just consider like what's changing for the Utah Jazz. People give a shit about the Jazz now for the first time in 5 years. We feel like we may have a guy who could be a legitimate superstar in the National Basketball Association. Let's not be too quick to give Darren Peterson that honor yet. I think we're a fan base that's very, eager to crown the king, right? I think Donovan Mitchell certainly benefited from that. But it feels like we have a guy, like a chance to like have a guy on our basketball team who could do it. Maybe if he becomes who he may be, he's the best Jazz man ever. We have a hockey team that is very competitive. They played in Stanley Cup playoff games this last year. I think they have a really good chance of getting back. It's going to be very difficult. That's been kind of a theme that I've talked about on the summer. I don't think we should expect this next season to be a cakewalk into the postseason just because we were there last year. I think it's going to be harder, to tell you the truth. And I think the team knows that too. And I think that's why they've been willing to make some moves to sort of mortgage some of the future to bridge, from year one to year two of postseason appearances. And then, BYU is having like this incredible moment as well with their athletics department where they're the top dog in multiple sports, which is, I don't remember this being a thing ever in my life where Utah college athletics is dominated by BYU at, I don't know, all the major sports, basketball, football. That's different. But guess who's coming back, baby? Rise and shout. Not them. I meant to go to the Utah fight song, but the Rise and Shout one is so catchy. It's hard not to go to that one. But I am a Utah Mancer and I live across here. See, I'm a Utah alum. And how exciting is that Morgan Scally is the head coach of the football program there. And I could talk about Morgan for hours and hours, but that's an exciting step into this next chapter here in Utah sports. There's a lot of changes, and I think it's gonna come up quick. And I'm so glad that my buddy Eric Jensen sent me that text as a reminder, and I'm gonna send him a text right back and tell him that I gave him some love on the show. And we'll see Eric a lot more on the show this season as well. We are dialing some things up. You've probably seen some little indicators here on the show that things may be different. We're obviously we want to do YouTube memberships for bonus episodes. That's a great way to fund the future of the show as well. We've been doing Patreon. That was really successful. We're going to move it to YouTube memberships from now on. We have some other like really, really cool charity initiatives that I've been working on over the summer. And we're just going to have a lot of fun. And it is bittersweet and sad to be leaving the original studio behind. What's great about the place we're headed to, maybe for the first time since we've been in this studio, I will have 24/7 access to the studio, which may or may not be a good thing. When I get bored, I might just come in here and just, upload my thoughts to the whole world. Should everybody do that? God, no. Just me, because I'm qualified, because I spend a little bit more money than most people on my equipment. But, what that really means for you guys as viewers, and again, I so appreciate all you guys. I hope that's been made very clear. I'm going to try to do an episode every day during the season. I'm going to be trying to compete in a small way with Mammoth Daily, Locked On as well. They do a daily show on the Utah Mammoth, but I've kind of felt like the next chapter for SLC Puck needs to be daily, or at least 5 times a week during the season. So that's going to happen now, and that's kind of what a big part of this move was to make this possible. So I just want you to know, like, I am now like moving at like physical components of my life for the sake of this show. And I'm happy to do it. And we're going to keep doing it. Hey, thanks for tuning in for SLC Puck. Sorry, I know that wasn't super informative on the hockey side. Just some thoughts. You heard me ramble. You heard me rave. Maybe it was helpful when you were listening to this episode while gardening. I don't know. But we'll be back. We'll talk soon, guys. Thanks.